Now, the protests, in fact, have already begun outside the Congress headquarters. You see huge number of workers who have gathered. But the Congress's strategy is very clear here. They're saying Sansad and Sadak. They're going to be holding a protest on price rise, inflation, on GST, etc. So all of this is going to be brought up also in Parliament. The Congress moving an adjournment motion in fact, Parliament to raise this particular issue. The Congress has moved an adjournment motion on price rise, on jobs, on GST, etc. So that issue will come up on this. The Congress on a warpath, clearly they're saying no matter what, they will in fact be continuing their agitation both in Parliament and outside. Let's take this across to Milind Sharma. She's joining us from outside the Congress headquarters. Milind, we see already that security officials have gathered there. They're trying to disperse protesters, yes?
Yes, Akshita. In fact, where we are right now, we'll just show you the barricadings that have been put in long all throughout the road, and right over there is where the protest is taking place. As I showed you earlier as well, it's been raining, but people are here, the security is here, the police force is here, and the rapid action force is ready as well with their gears and equipment. You see the movement there behind me, Akshita. The rapid action force people, the security personnel have started moving. This is where Mrs. Sonia Gandhi's residence is, which is completely cordoned off and barricaded at the moment. And as we move forward, the protesters over there are not being asked to move out of that particular area where the protest is centered at the moment. But we do hear that what they are planning to do is go towards the PM house and Gherao the PM house as well. All attempts here by the security personnel is to make sure that people don't end up reaching that point. So Sansad se Sadak tak is the idea, but the Congress party here planning the protest here first, and as soon as we hear Rahul Gandhi speak is perhaps when the dispersions will take place. There, Akshita, back to you.
Okay, you can see massive security deployment there at the Congress headquarters. These protests not being allowed. We understand Congress workers are being detained if they try to protest outside. They're being allowed inside the office without any problems, Milind. But the moment they stand outside, they're being detained if they stage any agitation.
No, absolutely, Akshita. I'll just ask Satya to walk with me a little bit further because we're trying to show that movement of the security personnel continues over here even as we speak. And we are expecting Mr. Rahul Gandhi to perhaps address their party cadres any moment now, which is why the plan is perhaps to protest here outside the AICC headquarters and then move forward from here towards the Parliament or towards the PM house. And therefore, there are these buses that have been stationed. These buses have brought in a lot of people here as well, but there are buses that have been stationed here by the police force. And as you can see, rounds are being taken by the police security as well. We see hectic movement because we are expecting that Rahul Gandhi will perhaps be in the AICC headquarters any moment from now. And that is where the action will begin, and that is from where the protesters are being allowed to go to the PM house or not will be determined. Akshita.
So the plan, Milind, just break this down for us. We understand that the Congress workers will be gathering at the Congress headquarters and marching from there to the Prime Minister's residence?
No, certainly. See, at the moment also we're trying to show you that leaders and political party members are trying to gather in here at the AICC headquarters where the protest is happening. Of course, because of the incremental weather, it's also been raining. And we are showing you that the police personnel is stationed here. Gates to the AICC headquarters will perhaps be shut in a short while from now, even as leaders make their way to move inside as Rahul Gandhi begins and would be ready to speak. But there are buses here, as I showed you earlier as well, which could be used to detain protesters in case things turn violent. And certainly that is why this entire route there has been shut off from one end to the other, so that protesters are not allowed to leave from this premises and go anywhere else from here. Meanwhile, there are protesters who are inside the AICC headquarters as well at the moment, and they are inside. Once Rahul Gandhi finishes speaking, perhaps they will step out. We'll have to wait and see whether the police personnel will allow them to come out or not.